Thursday afternoon as the intensity builds on quarterfinal day. We got a big day for you. I'm Chris Fowler. Welcome to Melbourne. Venus Williams' quarterfinal match against the rising star Daniela Hantuchova is coming up shortly. But right now to Andre Agassi, three-time champion, 3 wins away from his 4th title against the talented and tricky Frenchman Sebastien Grosjean. Inside to Cliff Drysdale, Patrick McEnroe, and Mary Carrillo.
Thanks, Chris. This is the very first game. This is Grosjean serving, and he has got a game point on Agassi. Deuce. Quarterfinal of the men's singles. This is the first quarterfinal match of the tournament. We're live down under in Melbourne. Deuce. This is Rod Laver Arena. Place is jammed with 15,000 fans again. Looking at obviously the favorite for the tournament left now that Leighton Hewitt lost yesterday.
These are 15,000 very sophisticated tennis fans who know how dangerous the server is. Well, Andre Agassi himself says of this man, Sebastien Grosjean of France, that he is phenomenally talented, very, very fast, a shot maker of some repute. He seeded 12, but for my money, Sebastien Grosjean is underseeded at this event.
Game point, Grosjean, first game. Sebastien Grosjean wins the first game. Live coverage and a friendly hello to you, everybody. I'm Cliff Drysdale, Patrick McEnroe alongside, and Mary Carrillo as well. You're saying you think he's underseeded,
yeah.
And there are a lot of people here who are saying that he has a chance to win this match, and that's a surprise to me because Agassi has been dominant.
You don't think he can win this match, Grosjean?
I think he can. I don't think he will.
He is a mean little motor scooter. I mean, this guy really knows how to play. He was down 2 sets to love against Felix Mantilla in the last round, and he was able to come back and take the next 3. He's just so tough. I don't have to tell Patrick McEnroe that because he's watched Grosjean decimate his Davis Cup team.
Thanks for reminding me of that, Mary. But interesting, I agree with you, Mary, that I think he's underseeded. And the French Tennis Federation for many years thought this guy was undersized and that he wasn't going to be able to contend with the big boys. But I'll tell you, he's got some big weapons, and he's going to need them today, Grosjean, against Andre Agassi. They've played a couple of times in majors before. Grosjean's been able to beat Agassi at the French Open, but Agassi has looked so strong, and he's moved Grosjean pretty well around the court in that opening game, and that's what Agassi's going to try to do.
You're not picking Grosjean in this match, are you, Patrick?
Agassi's going to try to find that Grosjean backhand throughout the match as much as he can.
15.
No, Cliff, to answer your question, I'm not picking Grosjean. Agassi at 32, you know, he loves the conditions here. Look at his Australian Open record, 36-3. He didn't play last year because of an injury. He won the previous 2 years down under.
So he hasn't lost a match on this court in 3 years, basically.
This is worth pointing out, you know, Vahaley, he took out easily. Lee was scary, 1-0-0. Escudé, another talented Frenchman, really tested Agassi. Guillermo Correa just bagged it because of blisters, which was not the most strongest response to getting drubbed by Andre Agassi.
On the run, Grosjean. And as you can see, he's willing to run all over the court.
40-15.
And this, I think, Mary, could be a key. The match time, not just in the last round, but overall, Agassi has not had to expend much energy. Grosjean, as you can see, had to play over 3.5 hours in the last round, and he's going to be the guy doing most of the running in this match.
Okay, Agassi.
Agassi holds on one apiece. You know, the draw to some extent has opened up here. It didn't look earlier on in the tournament like it would, Patrick, but it has.
Well, it has. It's certainly in the top half. The bottom half, I don't think. I expected Grosjean to make it to the quarters. I mean, he has Costa in his section, so I expected him to get there. Ferrero has looked outstanding. I mean, this is a tough draw for Agassi. Grosjean, then Ferrero are two guys with a lot of weapons from the baseline.
And Cliffy, you've been talking Schutler and Nalbandian from the very start of this event.
Look at that top half of the section. So one of those guys is going to be in the final.
15 love.
With Andy Roddick in with a very good shot at being that man. By the way, Nalbandian showed a lot of people a lot of things last night. He might not be a one-slam wonder, got to the final of Wimbledon last year, but he played like a real contender here against Federer.
Sure didn't play like your garden variety Argentine, did he?
Wow.
Here's what it took for Sebastien Grosjean to be facing Agassi today. Again, had to really mix it up with Carlo Cuchera in just the second round. Took out Nicolas Lopenti, the 24th seed, and then Felix Montilla, again, took the first two sets.
Go!
Hey! 30-15.
Patrick, you spoke about how the French Federation kind of dismissed this man, Grosjean. When he first showed up years ago, they thought, you know, he was slight of build and didn't have that much game, and they were just more gifted, more physical athletes around him that they really were putting their dough in. So he had to do this on his own, in large measure.
And we remember that time, Mary, about 10 years ago when we were all talking, you know, the men's game has turned into 6'2", 6'3" players with big serves.
And look who's at the very
Yeah,
top now,
geez.
Hewitt, Agassi.
It's amazing, and that the power game was going to dominate. And now, you know, the power game to some extent does dominate, but it's more guys that can hit with power and can move.
Yeah, baseline power.
Yeah, movement is so much more important now.
I'm so glad that people can no longer say that men's tennis is just about big serves.
In fact, it would be nice to see a few more big servers in there because that has been blunted by these huge serve returners. Sebastien Grosjean, by the way, lives in South Florida. Both the return is home for him.
40,
And
30.
you'll never forget the match he played against Clement here in the semifinals.
That's-
Remember, he had that match.
He really did. He was 2 sets up and had a couple of match points in the third. In fact, that was the last time Agassi won here. Agassi won that tournament, beating Clement in the final.
Grosjean in front 2-1. We're live down under in Melbourne, Australia, everyone. This is the quarterfinal of the men's singles. Agassi and Grosjean, 2-1 first set. Melbourne Park, this is the Rod Laver Arena, and Sebastien Grosjean, the Frenchman, against Andre Agassi, the number 2 seed from the USA. Las Vegas, Nevada is home for Andre. He has a huge party there every year, raises millions for charity. He has been tennis's most charismatic stars for 31. When did he start? Most 15 years ago or so.
He's played 17 U.S. Opens, Agassi. It's amazing that
And he's as fit now as he's ever been, right?
playing his best tennis now.
Oldest man in the field. They'll play 2.
What makes it, I think, so compelling, Mary, about watching Agassi at this stage, is I think we all agree is this is a right call on this overrule, that Agassi is playing some of his best tennis at this stage of his career, but watching him chase the majors. You know, last year had not a great year because he didn't win a major. He played great throughout most of the year, but wasn't able to win one of those big ones.
Still ended up the year number 2. And he could have caught Leighton Hewitt, who won Wimbledon. He could have caught him at the year-ending championships in China.
Only guy left with a Grand Slam win is Agassi. He's got to have 7 of them.
Agassi won Scottsdale last year. That was his 50th win. Then he won Miami and Rome.
And Madrid, another big Tennis Master Series event. Where, by the way, he played just a heck of a match against Grosjean in the semifinals, winning at 6-4 in the third.
30-15.
Lost to Pete Sampras at the US Open, but beat Leighton Hewitt in a huge match in the semis there.
And against most players, Andre Agassi has to worry about, you know, really beefing up his defense. But against someone like Sebastien Grosjean, he's actually got to beef up his offense. Not too many players make him do that.
Yeah, Grosjean is not hugging the baseline, is he? He's way back there. Again, last time they played here, the match you mentioned here, PMAC.
Well, the thing about Grosjean, Cliff, though, is that he can play right on top of the baseline and within the baseline, and that's what makes him so dangerous against Agassi. In fact, how often he can play on the baseline will very much determine the outcome of this match, because if Agassi can keep him pinned back and move him side to side, that's going to negate his weapons.
I'm still very curious to know how much Sebastien Grosjean has left after playing that 5-setter in the last round. And I think this first set will let us know just how ready he is.
And I think Andre is trying to find out for himself.
Yeah, it looks like he's scoping him out.
It's hot today, but it's not dangerously hot like it can be. Yo, what a get by Agassi just to get to that one. Grosjean was waiting for it, but look at the hustle from the 8 train.
But even here, I mean, Grosjean seemed to play sort of a weary point. He went for a quick little drop shot and was able to run over and hit that one into the open air. He is a shot maker, huh?
He's got such great court sense as well.
He has to with his game. So does Agassi. Philippoussis doesn't need.
Well, he doesn't have any. He needs a lot.
I knew I was going to get stumped on bringing him up when you're talking about strategy.
Right. Don't go there.
Let's just say he has an extremely faulty understanding of the material.
15 all, 2 games all first set. Remember, Grosjean lives in Miami, at least lives in South Florida, not Miami, Boca Raton. So he's used to the heat and humidity.
Oh, there's Grosjean stepping inside the baseline. Phenomenal timing for the Frenchman. Look where he is when he hits that ball. And that's taking time away from Agassi. He goes right back behind him. Got 10 winners so far, Grosjean, to just 2 for Agassi.
And again, that's why I do believe Agassi's got to take a few more risks and actually try to end points with winners himself sometimes, which is stepping out of what he does for a living.
Yeah, I don't think he'll try to do that much early on, though, Mary. I think what he's going to try to hit more body blows early.
Grind.
Yeah, grind him down a little more. That is a very underrated part of the Frenchman's game, that first serve. I mean, I sat on that bench during the Davis Cup and watched...
Weeping uncontrollably.
Yeah, watching him come up with big serves after big serves at pressure moments.
Boy, he's going to that drop shot, Grosjean. Agassi obviously alert and on top of that one.
Deuce.
He sees, Mayor, that Agassi is a little bit behind the baseline, and it's not actually a bad idea, just horrendous execution there.
Deuce.
And Mary, he played a lot of drop shots in those 2 Davis Cup wins he had against Blake and Roddick, but on clay, it's a much more percentage-like play. And Agassi now with a break point.
Grosjean's got an all-court game too. I mean, any surface game, I should say, because he's had success on all surfaces, including this one. Should have been in the final a couple of years ago, as we said. And had 2 sets, match points in the third. Yes, I don't know, Clement. Indoors, clay.
Even grass, he's won a tournament on clay, on grass. Much tougher to pull off the drop shot on this court because of the bounciness of the surface and the true bounce.
Advantage Grosjean.
Grosjean grew up in Marseille. His dad was a very, very good soccer player, and he loves soccer, as do most Frenchmen. He wasn't a first division player, but he was a good, solid soccer exponent.
Got to get a better percentage of first serves in Grosjean. He's only at 35%, and he's in big trouble on the second service. His coach, Terry Toulon, was a Davis Cup coach for the French team this past year and now is signed on full-time with Grosjean.
Live coverage, Oz Open quarterfinals, men's singles, Sebastien Grosjean. That's a look at Andre Agassi, number 2 seed. Imagine calling a Wimbledon like the Wim Open or something, but in Australia they call their own tournament the Oz Open.
I don't think that'd go over in
I know it wouldn't. But they're so relaxed down here in Melbourne, so friendly, great atmosphere. Game point Grosjean.
Deuce.
Again, that gesture he makes, all the players seem to do that now, to ask for the towel. They put their hands over their faces like that, and the ball kids know what that means. This has become such a wonderful tennis country. I'm not speaking of Australia right now, it always has been, but France. And it's a testament to how important tennis is in that country that Yannick Noah, Thierry Toulon, Guy Forget, they've all coached Davis Cup, some even Fed Cup, the women's version of Davis Cup.
It's going to be a war out there. This is a break point for Agassi. Mary, one of the things that they have done in France is keep their players in the game, which in the US has not been true. And it's true also of the Australian. For example, Paul McNamee heads up this tournament. And McNamara, who is his doubles partner, is now his partner in promoting this Australian Open.
Another chance for Agassi to break at 2-all in the first.
First service.
Jerry Armstrong in the chair is going along with the call.
And so he should. Agassi gets the break. Steffi Graf, his wife, watching. Son, Jaden Gill, is here as well. 3-2 Agassi.
Agassi leads 3.
2001 at the French Open, Agassi against Grosjean in the quarterfinals. It was a cool, blustery day. Agassi got off to a quick start, won the first set 6-1. But after that, it was all Grosjean. Just dominated Agassi, winning the last 3 sets, 1-1 and 3. And old former president was on hand.
Actually, Patrick, Agassi was beating Grosjean, but he lost to Bill Clinton. He won that first set 6-1.
Right.
And on that next changeover, the president came into the stands. And of course, he was so popular in France, President Clinton. And the place went nuts. A long standing ovation for him. And Andre Agassi's rhythm was utterly tossed off. And afterwards, you know, people said to him, obviously it was known as the famous Bill Clinton match. They said, you know, what about that? Is that what threw? And Agassi kept saying, no, no, no. I honestly think he was sort of mortified that he had let his concentration slip away that much.
3-2 Agassi, love 15. Call good, and Grosjean doesn't like it.
Yeah, it looked wide, actually, from where we are, just sort of right above that line. Let's see, though.
That is wide.
Well
Jerry
wide.
Armstrong's not going to be able to overrule that one, so, because he's too far away from it. Agassi gets a break.
Yep.
Yeah.
Grosjean's got to get his head together because he thinks he's gotten a couple of bad calls here. He did get one.
Yeah.
There are going to be an awful lot of great Gallic shrugs out there from this man.
Grosjean's very quiet, very shy. Very private person.
Cliff, that's one of the reasons he moved to Florida to live in Boca Raton, because most Americans don't know him that well, and in France he's a huge figure, extremely popular, and with the success of the Davis Cup team the last couple of years, winning it 2 years ago, losing in the final this past year. He enjoys the anonymity of being in South Florida. Also gets to practice with Roddick sometimes. They live fairly close to each other. Showed up at Andy's, had a charity event for his prep school in December, and Grosjean came and they put a little exhibition on. Jim Courier showed up there as well.
Game Agassi.
Yeah, but we actually have first-hand knowledge of this man, Sebastien Grosjean's humor. We'll tell that story in a moment. Mal Washington down on court.
Cliff, a couple minutes ago, you said it wasn't dangerously hot down here courtside. I think that's because you're actually sitting up in the booth. You're not courtside, but it's pretty warm down here, especially with no clouds in the sky. I talked to Darren Cahill prior to the match. He said a couple of things to look for. Andre's going to play a lot to the Grosjean backhand, but he can't just play exclusively there. Grosjean is too good for that. He's got to play to the forehand some. He's got to open up the court. Grosjean had a tough 5-setter in his last match. You can't come out assuming that he's going to be tired, but test him early to see how he responds.
Stay there, Mal. Listen, Mal, is it that hot? I mean, because it can get unbelievably hot. I mean, is that the kind of heat you're talking about?
Well, it hasn't gotten to the 100 degrees like we typically see a couple of days throughout each Aussie Open, but it is in the 90s courtside down here where I'm sitting in the photographer's box, and obviously the court surface itself is always warmer than that.
Thanks for that. Stay cool. 4-2, Agassi 15, love 15 in this game.
Well, he's executing that game plan already, Agassi, moving Grosjean around, forcing the Frenchman into a host of unforced errors with his penetrating shots off the ground. 8 errors for the Frenchman, only 3 for Agassi.
Oh, he had it. I mean, it was just waiting to be struck down there, and Agassi was not going to be able to cover that one. Just too low. Look at how he got himself into this position here. And now it's open for him. 15-30.
30.
Quick story about Sebastien Grosjean. Our invaluable colleague, Kate Strofair, a couple of years ago asked Grosjean what his new coach's name was, and Grosjean said, "I'll write it for you." So he wrote it out and handed it to her. And of course, it showed up in the beginning of his match, and he had told Kate that his coach's name was Mickey Mouse. The French television lit up almost immediately, and it was quickly corrected.
He's got, I mean, when you look at him, he's got this little sense of humor look about him. He sort of takes a lot in, you can just tell. And they had a picture of him in the program as he holds on here at the French Open this year, where he looked like he was a real great-looking guy. 4-3. This is the Australian Open. We're live down under in Melbourne, Rod Laver Arena. Sebastien Grosjean, Andre Agassi, the number 2 seed. Agassi has got the break, lead 4-2 coming up. After this is over Venus Williams and Daniela Hantuchova. Score is 4-3, excuse me. Agassi with the break.
Oh, the little fake paid off, the little deke.
But look how far back he is, Patrick.
Well, watch what he did here. He juked Agassi. He faked that he was going to cover this one. Let's see if we can see Grosjean. No, we missed him, but he gave him a little head fake, and it paid off.
Love 15.
Go!
15 all.
Agassi's well aware of the explosiveness of the Grosjean forehand and that he likes to run around and crack that forehand whenever possible. So smart second serve there. Accomplishes 2 things. Obviously the quick point in the ace, but it lets Grosjean think twice if he's going to do that later in the match.
In a Davis Cup tie, do you, as U.S. captain, do you interact with the players from the other team much at all, Patrick?
During the week, we see him quite a bit, sure, because we practice on the same court, and well, the guys get along pretty well. Especially, as I said, the Grosjean living in South Florida. We normally don't go out to dinner with the other team, but
14-15.
Because I sense from both Agassi and you got a lot of respect for him as a player anyway.
Well, he's just so talented and so dangerous. Oh, damn.
How tough is this man on the run?
I mean, that's like a slap shot. Look at this.
40-30.
And obviously from there, you've got to go for a desperation winner, but so few people can come up with it.
That's what Grosjean needs to do, I think, a little bit more of. Take the offensive as quickly as he can in the point.
Deuce.
Because he can jump on that ball in a hurry, and even with the two-hander there, wrong footing Agassi.
Agassi kind of tried to off-ball him as well in this rally, and he was right on it, wasn't he? What do you do if you're a power merchant yourself, but you know your opponent is as well? I mean, do you figure your strength will beat his strength, or do you have to figure, oh, I'm going to have to change it up, take the air out of the ball, move it around?
I think Agassi is looking just even on that backhand there, Mary. He could have gone for a winner there, but he elected to just roll it deep. What he wants to do, Agassi, is force Grosjean to miss rather than go for winners.
Agassi holds on 5-3. In the early stages of his career, if you were an Agassi fan, it was so nail-biting to watch him play because you knew that he could lose matches with strategic blunders. Now, if he loses, you got to beat him.
Well, he was a shot maker back then, Cliff. He really was, and that was either great or extremely not great. And Andre Agassi used to play like his hair was on fire.
Looked like it was at times.
Love 15.
Agassi's coach is from Australia. Darren Cahill used to coach World's #1 Leighton Hewitt. Very laid-back, typical Oz. Killer.
Love 30.
Two points away from the set for Agassi. Low percentage play there from the Frenchman, and we've got 3 set points for Agassi. He loves this court, you know. He last year had to pull out with that wrist injury after he'd played against Pete Sampras in the warm-up exhibition match at Kooyong on the same surface. But the 2 years prior to that, he won the tournament. So he's won 18 straight matches. Most of them on this court. Probably every one of them.
Probably every one, I think, yeah.
So made it look relatively easy. 2 breaks, and Agassi has won the first set. Second set coming up. Let's go to Chris Fowler and Jim
By 6
Curry.
games to 3.
Thanks, Cliff, the two-time champion, joining us here on the terrace. We're watching his first set, and unlike so many young guys we see in tennis now, they look to rip winners every chance they get. Agassi, not doing that.
No, for Agassi, what he's out there for is to win the war. He's not concerned about the little skirmishes. If he wins the first set, that's great, but the main thing for him, he knows Grosjean has played a long match the match before. He knows if he shows him he's going to be doing all this running, how that's going to play on Grosjean's head, and that's Agassi just thinking very clearly.
Calling that the art of war tennis, right?
A little bit, yeah.
War, not the battle.
Thanks, guys. I have the sense, Patrick, that you and Jim, and maybe you too, Mary, think that Grosjean can be tired out by Agassi here.
I think he already is tired. I mean, losing 2 breaks in the first set is, I mean, that's bad news for this guy. Now he's looking to, if he wants to beat Agassi, first of all, he's got to beat Agassi, and then he's got to do it by winning 3 sets out here.
And this is what I think has been the mistake from Grosjean, is he hasn't gone for, he hasn't, brought his weapons, and here he does. And if he is tired, and I agree with you, Mary, that he looks sluggish in the first set, he's got to go for his shots more. He's got to play riskier tennis. He was slicing that backhand and looping the ball around, and he's just going to run all day doing that. He's got to do something to keep Agassi on his heels, who's serving exceptionally well. The percentage is pretty good. The points won both first and second is outstanding for Andre. Only losing 7 points on serve so far in the match. It just seems a little sluggish. Even getting to a ball like that, he's not quite in position. And if he doesn't have his legs, he's in big trouble.
Especially against Agassi. I mean, it's hard to be tired and inspired. Still game point for Agassi, first game of the second.
Deuce.
So rare nowadays to see Agassi make a couple of bad errors in a row. He used to have those strings where he'd get flustered, he'd get frazzled. But now when he makes a bad mistake, he just comes right back and goes back to the percentage play. Sliding that serve out wide, opening up the court. That's the Grosjean that I've seen do damage with the forehand, and he's got to continue to try to hit winners with that wing.
Playing a little, not on that last point, but for the most part, maybe a little too far back for Grosjean. Sort of plays into Agassi's hands, that I think. Deuce. That's only his 6th unforced error for Agassi in a set and a game.
And this is the first break point chance for the Frenchman.
The clean set so far, or match.
First service. Deuce.
Agassi's not a serve and volley player. He never will be, and he'll never be a great volley artist, period. But he chooses now so much better the times when he comes into the net. All around good tactician.
That ball skidded off the baseline. Break for Grosjean. They'll give him his second break point opportunity here. Trying to get his feet going, get himself into this match.
Again, choosing the right time to get in. Doesn't ever have to make a great volley because he seldom puts himself in that position.
Sign of a confident player there from Agassi. I mean, to go for such a big forehand, break point down. Excuse me, Cliff.
Sorry.
Those are the things that happen when you played a lot of matches, you've won a lot of matches. Your instinct is to go for that big shot under pressure.
Agassi's into the net again. He's come in 13 times. Grosjean, well, make that 14. Now Grosjean only 4.
And what you're saying, Cliff, is so right about this guy. He doesn't have to be a great volleyer because what gets him to the net is always so good, and he very much understands positional pressure on an opponent. You know, force them to come up with something bigger than they really want to hit. A lot of baseliners don't put that to their opponents.
A few unforced errors from Agassi in this game. Grosjean has got to get his teeth into this now, or this could be a steamroll.
Another great approach, wasn't it? I know the ball was pretty short, but it was wide. He hits it over the high part of the net, just inside the line. Game point. Oh, one-handed slash. You'd think that'd make an impression on double A, but no, sir, clean winner, and he's got one game in the second, and he's up one set. He broke twice in the first. Both have a plus on the differential column, and believe me, they can both play defense. So to hit winners takes some doing. High quality.
Yeah, Grosjean's numbers, though, need to be a lot higher there. Both in the, I mean, the winner, the errors will be higher as well, but he needs to take more chances. And there you talked about that positional
15.
play from Agassi, and here Grosjean, look where he is. He's not in quickly enough.
Bit of a bluff, wasn't it?
Yeah, you got to make that approach and get in very quickly to cover that up the line pass.
Supposed to be able to hit with offense when you're this far beyond the baseline.
When you're in the shadows.
Yeah. And that's just nuts.
Watching live coverage of the Australian Open men's quarterfinals, Cliff Drysdale, Patrick McEnroe, Mary Carrillo, enjoying watching Sebastien Grosjean and the number 2 seed Andre Agassi. We're in the second set. First set, Agassi, 2 breaks of serve, 6-3. 1 game to Agassi in the second. Grosjean in trouble in this game, 15-30. Live, Melbourne Park.
Let's first service.
Venus Williams coming up against Daniela Hantuchova, Slovakia, after this. Second serve, we're live, Rod Laver Arena.
30-all.
First slam that Agassi won, unbelievably, was Wimbledon. The last one he won was the French Championships, but the Australian has been his most successful. He's won this one 3 times, and this is only his 7th outing.
Just he seems fatigued, this man. If not physically, then just mentally. Another break point against Sebastien Grosjean. Agassi's already broken him twice. If that's what you're going to have to do, squirt winners off the lines to stay in this match. I mean, that's going to be a hard way to try to win this thing.
It's going to be harder, though, Mary, to try to win it playing defense.
Yep.
That's what Grosjean needs to do. And the key for him is the first serve, because he's got to get a higher percentage of first serves in play to set up the point like this. He's only at 45%, and that's not enough. And on the second serve, he's getting abused. He's only won 10 of 26 points. That's 38% with the second serve.
Agassi's just torturing him.
You know, I have heard so many times, Mary, sitting next to Patrick and you some of those years ago, talking about the torture. I mean, those days he didn't used to torture as much as he does now.
He tortured himself.
He tortured the viewers back then.
But when he gets his grip on a player and he sees him wilting, and if you're right that there's any kind of fatigue, whether it's mental or physical, then Grosjean's in trouble today here in the sun of Melbourne.
I think he might be in trouble. Nice economical way to win a point. Look what it's taking him to hold serve. The first set's barely over.
But hold he does, and we're even. In the second set.
1 game.
Nearly an hour long. First set, 9 games. Early stages, second. Not like the first set was a tiebreak. These points are going on a long time.
Grosjean is just trying to spend as much time in the shade as he possibly can.
Well, he may be able to hide from the sun, Mary, but he can't hide from what Andre Agassi is making him do in this match.
Yeah, he's keeping him out in the sun.
Yeah.
And if this keeps going on, as you can see, twice the number of errors from Grosjean, he'll be in the shade quickly enough.
Has the explosive power, Grosjean, to force Agassi on the run. He's got to do more of that. He's not going to win this match hoping for Agassi to miss.
In fact, guys, Andre Agassi spent his entire Christmas vacation preparing for just this kind of a match. I mean, while everyone else was scarfing down turkey and, you know, blowing the suds off some and, you know, all that, Andre Agassi was running up hills and doing work in the gym, and that's why I think he's had such great success here over the years. He just arrives to begin the new year so eager, Agassi.
It's always been the most important thing for Agassi, Mary, to be physically fit. He doesn't necessarily need all the match play that a lot of players need to gain confidence.
It is good.
Oh, man.
Half volley lob clean winner on the line, and Agassi wins the game 2-1. Grosjean will serve, and we come back to Rod Laver Arena live. Insists that I say that every time I come here. If I don't, he misses it. Have a lot of Greeks down. Well, a lot from all over the world, really. But Sampras was pretty popular down here. Why am I talking about that? There's no
I'm not
Greek
convinced
out
I
here.
know.
French and an American.
You just like that whole cosmopolitan thing.
Seats at the end of the call, please. Thank you.
2-1 Agassi in the second set. First set to Agassi. We're on serve. This is Grosjean, who struggled to hold last time he served. Now he's serving at least the sun in a slightly friendlier spot.
Let's first service.
Although, to be honest with you, the sun is really not a factor anymore. It's about 20 to 4 in the afternoon this Tuesday here in Melbourne.
Let's first service.
It's those 11 o'clock matches in the morning that are tough on the right-hander.
You got to give him those. If Grosjean's willing to smack the ball around like that, spank a winner from well beyond the baseline, Agassi's, you know, he's just got to give him those, and Agassi knows in his heart that you can't do that for 3 sets. If you can, it's just way too good.
Play from Agassi again, but it's the return of serve. Look at that. So short, the angle, and he quickly gets in. Knock off the volley. 13 of 16 now, Agassi around the net.
Man, another forehand winner in this game from Grosjean.
13-15.
Continuing to make Grosjean go coast to coast every chance he gets.
30-all.
That's 3 forehand winners for Grosjean in this game. And again, the solid first serve setting it up.
Grosjean holds on, and it's even, 2 apiece. The winner of this match takes on either Wayne Ferreira or Juan Carlos Ferrero. Any,
Well, I'd be shocked to see Ferreira win that one, Cliff. I mean, Ferrero's been looking so strong with his big forehand, and he's been methodical. Ferreira's, I think, extremely happy to be there in the quarters, a veteran.
They're the 2 top seeds left in the tournament. They're in the same half.
Yeah, but don't you guys sense that now that Hewitt is out, Agassi's got to be considering all that? He's got to be processing that data, because Leighton Hewitt is certainly the man that Agassi must have felt he had to beat, among others, to take this title.
Yeah, I think he's processing it, Mary, but I think he's so experienced now, Agassi, and he's been through this so many times that he's not looking too far ahead.
You know, I think there's a way that the champions think about things that is different from most. And I'm sure he's aware that Hewitt is out, obviously, because that was such big news here and for this field. But my sense is, like Patrick's, he does it one at a time. I don't think he fears, for example, to play against Hewitt. He almost enjoys the challenge. Game point.
Got to be able to put a few of these together at the right time, Grosjean. Attempt to get the break that he's been unable to get so far. He's had 2 opportunities earlier in this set.
Agassi with a 3-2 lead. Grosjean will serve. We're on serve in the second. Agassi won the first. 2 breaks. Leighton Hewitt of Australia is the #1 seed. He's out of the tournament, but among some of the players that we talked to before this event started, there was another view.
For me, the favorite should be Agassi.
Andre is, in my opinion, the favorite.
Agassi, I think, is playing great tennis. Saw him at Kuyang last week, and you know, he seems to like it down here and has done well in the past. I love watching him play, and I think he's got a good chance to win it this year.
Conversation that I had with Jan-Michael Gamble, I said to him, I want to ask you, this was before we ever started the interview, I said, I want to ask you who you think's going to win the tournament. He said, you can't ask me that. I'm going to win the tournament. I'm not going to answer that question.
Frankly, I don't like his chances anymore.
Went out to Felix Mantilla, did Gamble in the 5-set match, second round.
Has a good start to the year, though, Jan-Michael.
Yeah, got to the finals in Doha in Qatar. Well, he knew Grosjean, once it hit the net, this ball here, that he was in deep trouble, so he guessed. That's what I call a forced error there from Agassi, and I wouldn't put that an unforced error for Grosjean, because Andre just placing that ball a couple inches from the sideline, forcing his opponent to stretch.
This is pretty much exactly the kind of match Andre Agassi wanted to play against Sebastien Grosjean, right, Gus?
Definitely, Mary. Force him to miss. Don't play, hit or miss tennis if you're Agassi. Keep your unforced errors low. Keep your first serve percentage high.
Right. I mean, he's not moving the needle one way or another.
8 unforced errors in a set and a half.
He's about in third gear, and it seems as though that's going to be enough.
And Agassi.
There's the first break of the second set to Agassi. And it's 4-2, 6-3 first set. Couple of breaks there. He's broken 3 times in all now. 2 break points against Agassi, but Grosjean hasn't broken.
Yeah, Andre always likes to talk about how much he's being forced to answer, what kind of questions he gets asked in a match, and the unforced errors have been clean for Agassi. Escudé, the other Frenchman, forced Andre to answer a lot more questions in the third round.
Took it to him, didn't he? Really, no questions at this time.
No.
And I must say that, again, working with Brad Gilbert for the better part of 8 years, as Agassi did, certainly helped his mind. But what, to my mind, made him so much more of a smart player is his fitness level. Because when you get fit, you look smarter on the court. You are smarter because you have so many more options, and you know that your body is going to hold up for you. You don't have to go for the winner right away. You can employ different tactics.
Only guy who's had more to do with that success of Agassi than anyone, Mary, as you know, is Gil Reyes, his trainer, his mentor, his buddy. They are so close and have been together for so many years. And they set a plan, they set a course, and they go through it each step of the way.
Grosjean's walking. He's had enough of that game as Agassi holds on easily 5-2. 1 break. Grosjean will serve. Agassi, though, has won the first set and is very much in control right now. Men's and women's. Venus Williams coming up next against Daniela Hantuchova. Sebastien Grosjean in action here. Second set. Agassi's got the break. 1 break leads 5-2. First set to Agassi. It's Venus Williams and Daniela Hantuchova. Following this match, Agassi trying to win this slam for the 4th time. He's won it 3 times in 6 tries. This is his 7th. Injured last year, day before the event. We were looking at Gil Reyes a minute ago, Patrick. I wonder if you had to pick only one person that you could have, would be a fitness trainer, a coach, or a psychologist.
Well,
one of them. Which one?
It depends who you are. I mean, if you've had the experience of an Agassi in match play, then you pick the fitness trainer. If you're a younger player, look at that. Grosjean doesn't like that call. Nothing's going his way. It depends. If you're a much younger player, Cliff, and you're athletically gifted and you're very physical, you might want a coach to teach you how to play points a little bit better.
Must be happy about that one, Grosjean, because Agassi's last shot was in fact out. Grosjean did not get the call.
I think he's even getting too tired to argue, man.
Yeah.
He's just sluggish. I mean, he just hasn't, the legs haven't been there from the start, and Agassi has just exposed it and continues to expose it.
You're right. To be a flashy hitter, you've got to be a flashy mover.
Long 5-setter against Felix Mantilla.
I'm surprised, Cliff. I thought he'd recover a lot better from that. I mean, yes, it was a long match, 337. And one of the things that Grosjean said at the beginning of this year that he wanted to do is to see Steffi Graf, Andre's wife, be real happy so far. Grosjean saying that he wanted to give it a go to win a major. Set point for a 2-set lead for Agassi. Well, to give it a go in a major, you got to be able to recover from a tough match. And you got to be ready to play 7 matches, and 2-3 of them could be long 5-setters.
He got it. So there's the set for Agassi as he breaks twice in the second as well. There's been a demolition by Andre Agassi. 2 breaks in the first, 2 breaks in the second. He'll serve when we come back live to Labour Arena.
That match to rehydrate.
And a look also at Ferrero from Spain and Wayne Ferreira of South Africa men's quarterfinals.
That's it. Agassi to serve. Thank you.
First point, third set, 2 sets to Agassi.
Love 15.
In that Ferrera match, the battle of the vowels, I'm giving the nod to Juan Carlos Ferrero, and he really feels slighted that no one's talking about him maybe winning this thing. Juan Carlos Ferrero plays this brand of tennis himself.
15.
He's the 4th seed here. He's not yet won a major, though it certainly seemed looming at last year's French Open. Won by Costa instead of Ferrero. But again, and again, look at all those errors from Grosjean. He'd at least like to be part of the conversation, Patrick.
The big difference, Mary, between Grosjean and Ferrero is that Juan Carlos has more firepower off the back end. You know, whereas in this matchup, Andre can be fairly sure that he won't get hurt by the Grosjean back end, and he can play to that side a lot more than the forehand. Against Ferrero,
no good place to hit.
I mean, if you give him a short ball on either wing, he'll hit the winner.
And Ferrero was the favorite at the French Open, especially when he got to finals time. Costa turned the tables on him, though, but he is very much an all-court player. He's not just a Spanish clay courter, so it'll be a very, very nice match. In the set, we're not there yet. He's got to play Ferrero first. Live coverage of the Australian Open Tennis Championships, the first slam of the year. This is day 2 of the second week. Welcome to the quarterfinals, everyone. Grosjean, the Frenchman, number 12 seed. Agassi is the number 2 seed. Cliff Drysdale here, Mary Carrillo, and Patrick McEnroe alongside. Agassi has won the first 2 sets easily. First game of the third here, game point. And game to Agassi. So he's off to a good start, solid start in the third. And really the question here is not whether at this stage whether Agassi will win. It's just a matter of how quickly he's going to win. He got breaks, 2 breaks in both the first and the second. Winner of this one takes on, and we've been talking a lot about it here lately, Juan Carlos Ferrero or Wayne Ferreira, the South African. In the top half of the draw, Yunus El-Anawi yesterday took out Leighton Hewitt in a tremendous display of quality tennis. Andy Roddick, a winner, he came back after being down 2 sets to Mikhail Yuzny, the Russian, and so he's still alive. He'll play Yunus El-Anawi in the next round. And then you've got Rainer Schüttler, the German, and David Nalbandian from Argentina.
15 love.
Haven't been enough cheap points for Grosjean, only his 5th ace. Agassi continuing to be very effective on this swing right here, the second serve return. Yep, putting Grosjean on the run. I mean, if you're going to stand that far wide and give up that much court. Look where Grosjean's standing. You got to do more with the serve. You can't just plop it in there. You're just saying, here, Andre, and Agassi doesn't even have to do much. Just bunts it up the line. That's just bad strategy. Bad strategy and tired legs makes a three straight set win for Agassi. There it is again. Thank you very much.
Well, that wasn't exactly a steer, is all.
For Andre, it was.
15-40.
Look. And he makes that look easy. Well, I mean, that looks pretty, but
30-40.
you know what I'm thinking? I mean, he's got to come up with something. I mean, a whole strategic change he's got to, and he doesn't have it. Break point, Agassi. Oh. Still got some legs.
Even Agassi applauded this effort.
Deuce.
It's one thing to get there. It's another thing to beat Agassi, who's not far from the net.
Just good defense from Agassi. He knows that Grosjean is fatigued, and he gets over there and just dumps that slice backhand low, says, okay, beat me again if you can. And believe me, Andre was there to make that pass as well.
18 games played. 10 unforced errors from Agassi. 10. This doesn't give you any room.
And a chance here on this second serve for a fifth break.
Deuce.
Grosjean expends so much energy holding serve. It's no wonder that he hasn't been too effective trying to break Agassi.
Advantage Agassi.
And the second serve numbers just killing Grosjean in this one. 32% now. His winning percentage on second serve points, 12 of 27. 12 of 37, excuse me.
Deuce.
When he gets the first serve in, a lot more happens. That's positive for the Frenchman. But there again, he hasn't been consistent enough. 51%. And tired legs make getting up for that first serve that much tougher.
Advantage Grosjean. Deuce.
No footwork at all there from
Advantage
Grosjean.
Agassi.
Just flat-footed.
It's become a melancholy match,
Yeah.
hasn't it?
It's a slow march to the guillotine for the Frenchman.
He would prefer a guillotine.
Deuce.
When the man guillotine invented that killing device, it was thought and said to be humane. Quicker way to knock somebody off.
Yeah, Agassi's giving him a nick here, a nick there.
Starts off as a friendly shave.
Advantage Agassi.
The incision is getting deeper.
Break point. Oh, that's nice. Running forehand, we saw a couple earlier, and another very nice one there.
Well, again, as Mary said a couple of points ago, when you have to win points like this just to hold serve, just to stay in the game, it makes life complicated.
Advantage Agassi.
Quick postscript on the match last night from Federer and Nalbandian.
Well, I think as the guys, Jim and Chris, were talking about it, showing the highlights, they were spot on. I mean, Federer is a shot maker, and I remember Mary's question to me, I think when we were opening our show the first day here, does he have the heart? You know, he's got the talent in the game. And I think that's the biggest question with Federer. You know, how bad does he want it?
Question is Venus Williams also. She's the number 2 player in the world. She's in action against Daniela Hantuchova, Slovak.
And don't underestimate Nalbandian. That kid is tough. He's smart.
He just doesn't play like a clay court Argentine.
He likes to. He grew up actually playing a lot more in hard courts. But he can play on anything, Mary. I've seen him do well at the French. Obviously, Wimbledon, the finals last year.
Yes, the point I was getting to is that I think we have to start mentioning the name of Nalbandian when we talk about the future of the game. Like, you know, you can say as much as you like Federer and Safin and Roddick, but Nalbandian may have to join that cast. He was terrific. This is a break point for Agassi again. He's got 1 game in the 3rd. Deuce.
Deuce.
Again, Grosjean having to come up with something special just to stay in this game. There haven't been enough 8th deuce this game. There haven't been enough easy points, enough sort of go-to plays for Grosjean. The top guys in the world have a go-to play. If it's Sampras, obviously it's basically the ace, or hit the big forehand.
A winning pattern.
Yeah, a
at
winning
least.
pattern. Agassi serve out wide, look for the opening. Things they go to when they need a point. Grosjean has not been able to establish a pattern of consistently winning a point in a specific manner.
At this point, then this service game has gone well over 11 minutes now. Agassi is not going to he's not prone to a sucker punch from this guy. Because that's what it's come down to. This guy's just sort of, he's just swinging in the air, you know?
And the problem, Mary, unlike in boxing where one punch can win it for you, he needs a lot of roundhouses, Grosjean, to get back
sets.
in this match. Yeah. Got it again.
Deuce.
Unforced errors number. That's the scary thing for Agassi, or the scary thing for Grosjean, when you see how few unforced errors he's making. Clips the outside edge. Deuce.
First service. Advantage Grosjean.
Yeah, that's well played. You know, an hour and 36 minutes old this match, and Agassi still got enough to seed #2 player in the world, and has not been seriously tested yet in the tournament.
Love 15.
One of the rare wild swings from Andre there. Grosjean's got very sweet hands around the net, and has not taken advantage of that part of his game, and nearly enough in this one. Only been to net 18 times.
But I can only assume we're going to see Grosjean try to play very short points. He hates these, boy.
Once Agassi gets in that position in a point, Mary, he just doesn't let go of it. He's so good at moving you corner to corner, and he does it by taking the ball earlier, controlling the center of the court. Look where Andre is. He's not moving a step.
Yep. This poor guy's rocking back and forth on the baseline, beyond the baseline. How do you get to net from there? And how can you even think about coming in?
Yeah, and I think from that point you can't, Mary, but I think what Grosjean tried to do right there was the right thing, to smack a forehand and do something to put Andre on the defensive. The problem was that he didn't start the match in that manner. He let Agassi get into that comfort zone early.
You're talking about a guy who's closing in on 33 years old. He's the oldest man left in the tournament. He was the third oldest guy to start, only Francisco, excuse me, Clavet and Magnus Laursen older than him. And he's giving away nearly 10 years because Grosjean's 24. Grosjean will serve. Agassi leads 2-1 in 2-0. As we look at the Melbourne cricket ground, that's about a driver and a 7-iron from where we're sitting, and from where Andre Agassi is about to receive the serve of Sebastien Grosjean. They can. This thing is actually under construction. They can seat 100,000 people over there for cricket, and footies is what is played in there as well. That's Australian rules football. Here in the Laver Arena, 15,000. But over 500,000 will show up here over the 2 weeks of this tennis event, the first slam of the year. 2 sets to Agassi, 2 breaks in each of the first 2 sets. He's leading 2-1 here. Grosjean held on the last time, but it was tough. Now he's going to try again.
6 at the end of the court. Thank you.
Yeah, it was tough, all right. 7 break points down. It's been tough almost every game the Frenchman's had to serve.
It's Australia and Sri Lanka at the Melbourne Cricket Ground.
Cliff, I can comment on the basketball and the football and the baseball and the promos we do for all the other sports that are on ESPN, but
you want me to do the cricket?
When you give me the Sri Lankans and the Aussies in cricket, I mean, I'm at a loss, okay?
Would you come out and watch your game with me so that I can explain to you about how a real game is played?
That'd be nice. I could get some tea, hopefully, and a little tea time, a little tea break.
A little tinny. Tell you what a silly Madon is, and a square leg.
I believe you've called me a silly Madon once or twice.
15 all in this game. Grosjean serving 1-2. It's the quarterfinal of the men's singles. Quarterfinal women's singles coming up. Venus Williams and Daniela Antukova.
First service. Deuce.
Got it. Game point here for Grosjean. 2-1 Agassi.
Advantage Grosjean.
And wide serve paying off there for Grosjean. Able to spank the inside-out forehand winner. That's 17 winners now on the forehand side for Grosjean.
Grosjean holds on. Agassi's at 14 break points. Grosjean's had 2. I mean, it's been one-sided by any definition. 2 breaks in the first 2 sets for Agassi. He's taking a little break in the shade there on the top of your screen. But it's 2 games all here in the third.
That's just such clean hitting from Agassi. And the way he can take this backhand just right on the rise, that one, and force Grosjean to have to stretch. And then this is the easy part. Never been anyone that can take the ball on the rise off the ground as consistently clean as Andre Agassi does.
Played at the end of last year in Madrid indoor hard court. Agassi won that, but it was a best of 3 set match. It took him 3-6-4 in the third close. Played each other 4 times in all, 2 apiece.
(30-15).
What you said earlier, Mary, is obviously so right, and that is that when you're struggling so hard to win your own serve, you got no more energy to try to break.
Right.
That's first service.
And there's really not too much left to say about this match.
I'm just waiting for it to end.
Take a look at Venus Williams when it's over.
I'll be interested in that. I thought I was going to be a lot more interested in this, but it just hasn't come to fruition.
Andre's in no hurry because he's a masochist, right?
Yeah. Make it
3-2.
suffer.
Third set, 2 sets Agassi.
I'll tell you, I had to do a lot of work to come up with our Pacific Life between the lines in this one because it's been a one-sided affair for Agassi, controlling the points, forcing Grosjean on the move, the backhand winner there. There's been 11 backhand winners from Agassi, and look again, just controlling the points. Grosjean should have done more with this forehand, and Agassi's been there. Even when he's been stumbling and mumbling and grumbling, it's been going well for Andre. Back live, first point of game 6, set number 3.
Love 15.
There's the 31st unforced. Look, it changes right before our eyes there for Grosjean. Good job by our crew. Agassi with, you know, almost as many winners, which Grosjean needed to double Agassi, I think, in the winner department because you knew he was going to double him in the error department. He hasn't been able to fire his guns consistently. And there, I mean, that's a great example there of just Agassi on the run. I mean, that was a big forehand up the line from the Frenchman. Agassi gets it back deep and forces the error.
I don't know what it says about this match, but Mary's been asking what the cricket score is, and when they tell her, she has no idea what they're talking about.
219 with 2 wickets, whatever that means. Sri Lanka's up. I don't know.
Love 40.
Break points here for Agassi. This would be his first break of the third set. He broke twice in each of the first two. Sebastien Grosjean saves one. This is the Rod Laver Arena. 15,000 people watching alongside us and you, Sebastien Grosjean. And it's Andre Agassi in the quarterfinal of the men's singles here at the first slam. The Australian Open from Melbourne. We're in Melbourne Park. Grosjean serving. This is break point for Agassi. Agassi leads by 2-0 and 3-2. Trying for his first break of the third.
Last legs, Grosjean, but still hanging on.
30-40.
Agassi fighting off a couple of big blows, but can't run this one down. Still break point.
Game Agassi.
Guys, many years ago at the French Open, I wandered in, I had some time off, I wandered into Rai Television, the Italian television, where Rino Tomasi was calling a match with my television hero, Gianni Clerici. They were doing the Jaime Onsine's Michael Chang match. And those things can be rather long affairs, if you remember either one of those guys.
15.
And at a certain point, Clerici was just, he'd had enough, and he said, on the air, he said, "This match is not worthy of my attention. It doesn't deserve me." And he took off his headsets, and we went out and had a cappuccino.
I'm not kidding you that I came up here, on the way up here, they were getting on the air,
15.
and Rino Tomasi was singing. This was his introduction.
I love these guys. They are my idols.
30-15.
And he has a terrible voice. Singing.
Never stopped you before, Cliff. You sing a few tunes
That's
up here.
a low blow.
I just have a feeling Gianni Clerici has had enough of this match, too.
He's on his third cappuccino.
15.
Porsche radar gun at 80 miles an hour there as Agassi just cruising home.
Game Agassi.
Agassi holds on, and Grosjean will try to stay in the match. He's serving when we come back. He's in trouble.
Agassi leads 5-2.
In finals, and Agassi here looking for a place in the last four. He's one game away. Does the Agassi-Sampras rivalry have any life left in it?
I think it does. I think
15
Sampras is going to come out this year with no pressure. I think he's got a new racket he's been testing out. We may see him come out with that. And I'll tell you, I think he's going to have a good year this year. Whether or not he's going to be there with Agassi at the end, I'm not sure, but I think he might be.
And he's signed up to play a lot of tennis.
Yeah, he's got a full schedule ahead of him this year. I'll tell you one thing, Mary. If Sampras, whether obviously not at the French, but at Wimbledon or the U.S. Open or a big event, if he gets going and starts winning a few rounds, the fear factor will be there.
Oh, yeah.
Based on what happened at the U.S. Open last year.
I wouldn't bet against him on the grass, despite what happened last year.
15-30.
Grosjean just wants out now. We've all had enough, including him.
15-30. Grosjean serving a 2-5 third set. Agassi broke him twice. One set 1 and 2, and if he breaks him again here, same story. Ball the match. For the semis for Agassi, it'd be Ferrero or Ferreira. Ferrero of Spain, Ferrero of South Africa. How many chances Agassi's had here? 17. Well, I don't know if it could have been much easier for Agassi, or I don't know that this preparation for the semi-final could have been any better. He's had enough tennis and not too much.
Well, that's the thing, Cliff, and I think that's the biggest thing to take out. It's, of course, Agassi's back in the semis, but for me, he's going to have fresh legs, Mary. He's going to need them against Ferrero,
yes,
and he's going to need them in the final if he gets there.
I think he's positioned himself exactly how he'd want to be going into the last couple of rounds of this major.
And unlike the U.S. Open, there won't be that Saturday-Sunday final here, so that will give Agassi for sure the break that he wants. There's Ferrero tonight, Schuttler, Nalbandian, Andy Roddick with a huge opportunity to get through to his first semifinal in a Grand Slam. He takes on Elanawi next.
Break time from our live coverage of the Australian Open. Andre Agassi is in the final 4. Back in a minute.
Andre Agassi on to the semifinals, dropping just 7 games to Sebastien Grosjean, a talented Frenchman. Jim, the word torture has been tossed around to describe what Agassi does to opponents, and this match certainly had kind of a baton death march quality to it. Not a single set ever really in doubt at this point. Was it just a matter of him imposing his game plan and Grosjean never getting into his?
Well, Agassi talks so much about his gas tank, and it was Grosjean's gas tank that had nothing in it today. I just want to give Sebastien Grosjean a little bit of credit for at least staying on the court. Thank you, Sebastien. Korea, Agassi's last opponent, just pulled the ripcord, got out of there after the second set, so at least Grosjean stayed in there till the end, gave the fans a little bit of something to watch. But Agassi, the perfect preparation for him. He had his tough match against Escudé. Now he's saving up. Ferrero is who he'll probably play in the semifinals, and Ferrero will be fresher than Grosjean, I am almost sure, and Ferrero will give him a good test.
Well, Ferrero or Ferreira, whoever it is going to have a game plan. But what's going to allow those guys to execute theirs and kind of derail Andre's? He just seems so implacable out there. No matter what you try, it's going to be the game plan, and it's going to get you. Well,
Ferrero's, he's got a weapon. He's got the big forehand, and Grosjean had that too. And if Grosjean had his wheels today, it would have been an entirely different story, at least a closer match. So Ferrero's got a big game, and Ferrero's not afraid of the big moments. He's gotten to the Grand Slam final of the French Open. He's had success in Davis Cup. He's a young gun that a lot of us, including myself, are expecting something great from eventually. Is now the time for one of these guys to really step up to the challenge?
There's one hope for the underdog. Maybe Andre won't like the night matches. He's known not to be too fond of them. Of these 19 consecutive wins at this event, the vast majority day matches on Laver. Now for the semis, he's got to shift and play his first night match of this tournament anyway. Yeah, he really does. And for him, I don't think that it'll be that much of a factor, Chris, because at this point, Ferrero and Agassi, if it is indeed Ferrero, physically speaking, I think they're both very, very fit. And I think that although it will be a physical match, I don't think either of them will necessarily wear out. That's what Agassi counts on with the heat. He's not going to get that in a night match, but I shouldn't think it'll matter. We're waiting to hear from Andre Agassi. Venus Williams quarterfinal match against Daniela Hantuchova also coming up as we continue from Melbourne right after this.